Everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Adorkable Rachel, and it's time once again for another episode of Rachel Reviews, so let's just hop into it. Despicable Me 3. So this is the very first Illumination Entertainment film that I've covered on this channel, and I'm just gonna be straight with you. I do not like Illumination Entertainment. The very first film that this company produced was actually the very first Despicable Me film, and while that film was okay, to me, since then, it's just been one mediocre movie after another, and I do not like it. Yeah, I've actually seen all the films that this company's produced, and from what I gather, every single movie just seems to thrive on really lame juvenile humor that they think the audience wants, along with some really stupid jokes that we didn't ask for, some really awkward character design, and the absolute worst part is characters and stories that we could care less about. And I know a lot of people really like some of these films, and I promise if you're one of those people, I'm not judging. You're allowed to like whatever you want to like as long as it's something you genuinely enjoy. I just personally think that from a company standpoint, the reasoning behind some of the choices they make to appeal to the mass audience, it seems really weak to me. Basically, it just seems like they want to create some lowbrow entertainment to get ticket sales up, but without actually putting any effort and creating any characters or story that have any substance. But interestingly enough, they do have a knack for actually bringing in celebrities and making them do voices that sound nothing like themselves in real life, so there is that. So Despicable Me 3 once again continues the story of villain gone good guy Gru, played by Steve Carell, and he's also got his new agent wife, Lucy, who's played by Kristen Wiig. After failing at a mission, they both lose their jobs at the Anti-Villain League, and then Gru very randomly finds out that he has a twin brother named Drew. And somewhere in the middle of all this, there's also a bad guy that's a former child star that's completely stuck in the 80s. And it's awesome. The movie starts out with Gru and Lucy trying to take down this villain, who, by the way, is named Balthazar Brat. And like I said, he's a former child star, he's gone rogue, he's now a villain, and he wants to steal this great big pink diamond for no significant reason other than the fact that it's a diamond. Again, not much substance from Illumination. Now, before we go into the really bad and annoying stuff, I actually want to give credit to the filmmakers for putting together a villain that, for me personally, is one of the more interesting cartoon villains that I have seen in a good long while. In fact, he is hands down my personal favorite part of this whole movie. As a kid, he used to be on a TV show where he played a supervillain, but when he got older, the Hollywood system rejected him, so he decides he's gonna just live out the glory days as best he can for as long as he can, and he's doing it as a supervillain, and he's also basically acting like the character on the show. I mean, everything about him, from his fashion choices, to his dancing fight style, to the look of his lair, to all the music that plays when he's on screen. It is just all overblown 80s-ness, and I love it. Illumination Entertainment actually created this really interesting character who is a villain because he was so distraught by what Hollywood did to him, and he brings the good parts of his past and his fame into his villainy, and that's funny! And it also kind of makes you realize that the 80s was a really weird time. Plus, he's played by Trey Parker of South Park fame, so that just adds a whole nother level of hilarity right there. I mean, it's basically Stan's dad, but more evil and maniacal, and I freaking love it. So we know that the main plot of this movie is what they had in a lot of the advertising, which is that Gru finds out that he has a long-lost twin brother. So they meet, they bond, they do heisty stuff, I guess. But here's the thing. It's a little strange how they go about this plot because it doesn't even come up until about 20 minutes into the film. And when it does come up, it's like really out of nowhere. So it's like, did we just jump into another movie? I'm confused. There's no foreshadowing, there's absolutely no connection to the villain. It's just like, oh, hey Gru, you have a brother. You should go meet him. Where did this come from? And believe me, I thought long and hard about this, and there really is no reason why Gru should get this news right now. We hear that his father recently passed away, but what does that have to do with Drew finally contacting him? Was it his father's dying wish that they finally meet? Was there some sort of settlement in the will they had to go over? And if Drew knew about Gru the whole time, then why is he just now contacting him? I mean, I'm assuming that Drew wanted to form a connection with his brother, that's understandable, but again, why now? And that's the problem! It's never explained or addressed. Call me crazy, but I want answers. Oh, and you also know how Steve Carell's voice as Gru is kind of annoying, but it's also somewhat amusing in its delivery? Well, Steve Carell also plays Drew, and he's really annoying and, oh, it's so painful to sit through. I mean, Drew is obviously supposed to be the obnoxious opposite of Gru, but oh my god, it's not charming. Yep. That's what I want to hear twice as much of. And whenever Drew was on screen, I just kind of checked out and wished we'd go to whatever else was happening in the movie. And you know, for a movie that focuses heavily on the family dynamic and also brings in the long-lost twin plot, you'd think that there would be a little more depth and conversation to all that, but there really isn't. It really just does not shine through, and it doesn't go to that deep, interesting level that it could have gone to. Because apparently Gru and Drew's parents were divorced when they were babies, and they each took one of the babies with them, and apparently also the parents liked the other one better. Well, you'd think that that would lead to like a gut-wrenching scene, or maybe an explanation as to why they were separated for so long, but no. It's kind of like the filmmakers themselves felt really uncomfortable with the subject matter, so they just didn't really do anything with it. Oh, and speaking of which, one of the other really big problems with this movie is that there is way too much going on in this movie. Rather than just participating in the plot that was presented to us, everyone's kind of off doing their own thing. Apart from the whole Gru brother thing that very weakly ties in with the villain, we've also got this subplot where Lucy's trying to be a good mom, we have another subplot where Margot accidentally gets engaged, and then there's another subplot where Agnes is trying to find a real-life unicorn, and Edith just kind of goes into this subplot because she really does nothing else for the rest of the film except get saved in the end. And then there's another subplot where we have the minions that quit working for Gru and then they go to jail. Hardcore? Yeah, so basically it's a little hard to get invested in some of these plots when they really have nothing to do with each other. It's like the villain and the brother stuff didn't work as a feature film, so let's just put all this other stuff together and boom, we've got a feature-length movie. Now I will say this, out of all the Despicable Me films that I've seen, I have to admit, I enjoyed watching this one the most. I mean, that's not really saying a whole lot considering I'm not a big fan of any of them, but this one did have the really interesting villain, and it did have some decent laughs, and there's also less juvenile humor in this one. I couldn't believe it, but I was watching this movie and I realized about 2/3 of the way in that I hadn't seen a single fart joke yet. I know! I was shocked too! Well, actually, there was that one in the very beginning during the production logo, but okay, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. That wasn't in the actual movie. Obviously, there was a lot of other lame pandering jokes in the film, but thankfully, they weren't nearly as bad as some of the other films. For me, this is really just another third film in a franchise that we clearly didn't ask for. Huh. Funny how we got 2 of those in a row. But, I mean, it's light, it's got some fun moments, it's got some pretty decent, if not kind of annoying voice acting, and it's pretty harmless despite some really not so subtle mature jokes in a movie that's clearly made for kids. I mean, again, if you're a fan of the Despicable Me films or if you really like the Minions, then you'll definitely get what you want out of this movie. It's got the typical laughs and the jokes and the quick animation, but me, no, it did not leave me wanting more. It's not over the top hilarious and they don't really explore anything new with the characters either. More than anything, it's just really hard to be invested in just about anything in the movie. The only thing that really stood out to me was the villain. In fact, let's just make a whole movie about him. I'd watch it. This movie's fine for families. It's fine if you want to get a quick laugh, but other than that, I don't really recommend this film. Pointless movie, pointless plot, pointless characters, but there is a villain in it that should get its own movie. In fact, I would totally be down if he just got his own spin-off film. Let's do it. So those are my thoughts on Despicable Me 3. So now I want to know, have you guys had a chance to see the film? And if so, what did you think? Are you a fan of the franchise? Are you not? Even if you are a fan, did you get any amusement out of this? Again, if you like it, no shame. Really, tell me what you thought of it. Did you like Trey Parker as the villain? Do you wish we'd see more of him? Was there anything in there that I completely missed? What are your thoughts? Well, go ahead and leave your comments below. Be sure to like and share. And if you're new and like what you saw here, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to hit the little bell button down there to get notified when new stuff comes out because I'm